Aloha. It was wonderful seeing you, Terry. Really quick, I'm going to go through the functionality of the circle of fifths. That's the weird thing I was talking about with counting fingers. It seems foreign at first, but eventually it does start to make a little bit more sense. Traditionally, what we do is we pick up something called the circle of fifths. It's a little sheet which allows you to look around a circle, which shows you where the chords go. Here's basically what it is. It's a little cheat sheet on how to form chords and then move them, so when you do modulate, all your substance chords are the same. So if I was in the key of C major and I was playing a 1-4-5 tune, like I just explained, we'd have C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. There are no sharps and no flats in the key of C. They're all natural notes, which means I don't alter saying C sharp or B sharp sharp or something weird. It's all just natural notes, natural elements. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G. What happens in A, B, C, D, E, F, G is we move them, and depending on what tones we're at, we have to include sharps and flats to give them those whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Since you know that formula, that is the foundation of everything we're about to do. So what we do in the key of C, if I were to have just my C note, I would have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, C, D, da, 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 da. I have to go back up here. So what we would have is a whole step from C to D, whole step from D to E, half step from E to F, there's no black key there, whole step from F to G, whole step from G to A, whole step from A to B, and then we would have a half step to resolve from our B to C. Since this is clearer and easier said in the key of G and it incorporates open notes, I could either do in the key of C, G, or D. For the purpose of the banji, let's do it in the key of D. This open low note that we have is D. So in the key of C, no sharps, no flats. C, D, E, F, and G. I know that G is 5 notes away from my C, meaning C's got no sharps, no flats. G now has one, F and A. No, that's a bad way to explain it. Just F. There is no A in that first one. So G as our 7th is F sharp. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and then G. The reason why is if I were to take my G, so I've got D, E, F sharp, G, and do the same movement. G, A, B, C, D, E, F. You hear that? That note, if it's not an F sharp, it doesn't go T-do. It doesn't have a half step resolve. It's got a whole step resolve. T-do, T-do, T-do. The difference might not be a big, but it's a world of difference. So when we're moving through this, we have to hear our whole step from D to E being a whole step, our whole step from E to F sharp, whole step from F sharp to G, whole step, half step from F sharp to G, whole step from G to A, whole step from A to B, whole step from B to C sharp, and then a half step from C sharp to D, giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, open. So where we're at is practice that using both of these finger patterns. I'm going to show it to you with the first finger. Our spider exercises make sure that we're using one finger on one fret and we don't slide around. We actually use the individual finger for that fret. A melodic way to look at it is this. Spider exercise, our lesson 1, is utilized to make sure that we've got good attention to note detail and that we're using pointy notes and not flat notes. Flat notes come in when we work on our chords and doing slides and slurs. Other than that, when we do bends like a, that's going to be using a two-note method, but today at the end of the lesson I'm going to go and reiterate the slides, and we'll do a pattern for that for the next week. So when we're moving along with these, what we see is using the chord structures and the individual notation as being something which involves melody. Melodies are generally one notes or harmonies that move together in a melodic fashion, which creates substance, which is known as the head or the lead, the feeling, like a Farah dum, that dum 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 is the melody. So when we move through these, every song pretty much has a melody, unless it's abstract or it's atonal, meaning it's in one key and it doesn't really move anywhere. What we learn how to do is here, D to E is a whole step, E to F sharp is a whole step, F sharp to G is a half step, G to A to B, B to C sharp is a whole step, and then C sharp to D a half step. No matter where you put that, it's also going to make the same notes. So what we're going to do is look at this as being a tonal exercise. The end result is to do something like this, to play a G major and have G, A minor, which would give us what I was talking about being our modal structures. When we move up, you drop out a note and add a note. But that will be for next week. What I just want you to concentrate on is playing the D, 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 E, 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 F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, F sharp, open G, 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 A, B, 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 C sharp, resolution with D. If you don't start with your first finger and you start with your second finger, all these should be played with your second, third, and fourth fingers. If you start with your first finger, they should be played with your 1, 3, open, 1, 3, open, 1, 2. Does that make sense? I hope so. The idea going between the two is getting spatial distance between your G and your D and G and your E. So we could have a G, D. Going through all different notes to help you go back and forth. You could also do 2-note runs, 3-note runs, 4-note runs, 5-note runs, 6-note runs, and 7-note runs. That's what this means. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, 4, 4. So when we're moving through these, what our fingers do is they actually drop a note and add another note at the end, thusly doing patterns. Believe it or not, all these countless hours that you're going to stack just doing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Over and over again, it becomes muscle memory and our fingers know where to go. That's all we're doing. So this week, our new chord would be the F major, which looks a lot like our G major. If we could have a G major, we also have an A major, and then our B flat major, which is one of our other new chords. So B flat major and F major, right? I'm gonna go ahead and end this video in just a second after I explain one more thing, and then do a secondary video for the fingerings for Mana Constant Sorrow. You can find this on the Mana Constant Sorrow soundtrack. I think it was like 2001 this came out, and it was a Coen brother movie. It's amazing. I'll try and send you the link. What I'd like to do now is just go over a quick representation of what these nodal structures were. So if we're doing it in the key of G, we'd have G major being the 1, the tonic. You can play it here or here. Next, thusly, we're going to have an A minor because it goes from a major to a minor. So A major, sorry, G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have this chord called F sharp diminished. Now we shouldn't be scared away from these chords. What we do is we look at relatively parallel. So the one thing I can tell you is this exercise that I'm about to show you right now will be a crucial for remembering what your diminished is. In the key of G, we've got G, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If D is our fifth, all we need to do is make that D major a D major 7. And what we do is we turn this chord from a D major to a D major 7 to a D dominant 7. This D dominant 7 is the same exact chord as our F sharp diminished. So when we go G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp diminished is our D7. And then it resolves to a G. No matter what key you're in, it's the same thing. So in the key of, let's say C, or what would be also fun, F major, F major, G minor, A minor, B major, C major. C major is my fifth, so C7 would have this C major. So if I've got this note, that's my C7. That's also going to be my F, G, A, B, C, D, E. What is that? E diminished. Yeah, I don't know why my brain's going crazy. So C7 is my E diminished, which resolves from E diminished resolves to F. So no matter what key we're in, we can always find what our diminished is, because sometimes it's hard to spell out our triads. In the key of C, B diminished would be my 7th. Well, if I didn't know how to put my fingers on here and find a B, D, and an F, I could simply go, well, this is a B, this is my D, and then my F note is right here. Right here. So that right there would be my diminished in the key of C to resolve. So it's that perfect balance of knowing where the notes are by doing repetition. And here's the caveat of all this. You don't have to know what this necessarily is for your fingers to do the right thing. It's just a period of repetition over and over again. The reason why I know F major goes to a G minor and then A minor is because what we talked about today. The root is always a major. The second alphabet follow it, A, B, C, D, E, F. Well, G comes next. I know that it's not major, major, major. It's major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. And then my resolution. So next week, we're going to work on just our scales, just our rolls, and we're going to work on forward, backwards, and then our alternate thumbing for that roll. Go over our 3 major rolls, and then we're going to work on a couple different little bluegrass spins, which will be in our new song, Man of Constant Sorrow. Awesome. I'll send a whole video which shows us how to play that measure by measure for you this week, but I would concentrate more on this recap and then take a good look at that measure as well. We'll see you next week. I will also see you at the new store, new location, same time that we worked out, just the new location at the 188 Command Man. Aloha.